Welcome to another exciting episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us. I'm your host, Michael, and joining me tonight is a guest who I have to say, in full transparency, I have so enjoyed talking to offline. I just know you guys are going to be totally thrilled with this guest, and we have had such great conversations. I can't wait for you all to meet her. And with that being said, I'm going to allow her to introduce herself because she has such an amazing story to share. So I'm going to turn it over to the one, the only, amazing, incredible beacon of light,
Ah,
Jami Lee Mayfield.
hi. Thank you. That was beautiful. It's a
Yeah,
pleasure to be here with you.
it's a pleasure having you.
So I was raised in Clayton. I'll start from the beginning. I was raised in Clayton. My dad's a retired ATF. My mom was lived down in Clayton. We lived on 25 acres. And so I would go back and forth from Tulsa, Oklahoma to my dad's house to my mom's property in Clayton, my family's property. We had a recreational park in Clayton, and we still have it. So I was raised in the most amazing place, really, when it comes to Clayton. So years ago, when I was a child, I would be in complete fear all the time. And I couldn't sleep alone. I would see beings in my room, and I didn't have anybody I could really talk to about it. I had a great aunt that really listened to me, but was really religious. And she just told me, oh, it's okay. It's okay. But it got to the point to where I couldn't even go to the bathroom without having to crack the door. So I spent a lot of my childhood terrified. Now, these beings in my waking state didn't do anything but watch me. And I felt them. And I could sense them and sometimes see them, but not all the time, thank goodness. And as I grew up, it just progressed. It just got even more intense. And I just kind of wanted to block it out. So I kind of just didn't want to be alone. I had a really hard time being alone. So it was really hard for me. So as time went on, with each place that I moved to, there was more experiences. And I remember calling my grandma up to my house and said, please come over. My door just keeps opening and it won't shut. So she told me, because my grandmother is extremely psychic, she's crossed over. She told me, Jamie, you have a woman named Delia that's very attached to you. And she's wanting to make sure you're okay. Well, I didn't see Delia. Didn't see her. She didn't make her presence known. Only I felt her. And that was it. So many things happened. I would get paralyzed as a child, and so would my sister. And that was really, really hard for me to deal with. I didn't quite understand it. It didn't even occur to me what was really happening until I was in my 30s. And fast forward, I have my 2 kids, and I'm working for my family, and I'm managing their business in the Bay Area. And my life is just so full of work that I kind of tuned everything else out. So in 2009, I started really feeling the push to go into school, to dive deeper into my experiences because I was having them so often. And in my early 30s, my best friend ended up crossing over. She came to me and she pretty much broke me out of everything. I mean, she haunted me like no other because her boyfriend at the time killed her. And she didn't want her family to go after him. They were very Italian. I don't want to go a bit more, but yes. So she took me through her entire death. There's not really any other way I could say it besides I was dreaming, And I found myself on a gurney, a hospital room. And the doctor, I could see him, came over to me, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, should I have an accident? What happened to me? And then I saw him breaking apart my ribs, just cutting my ribs. And I said, oh dear God, I've had an open heart surgery. Like, what's going on? And I'm really panicking. And then he comes over and he starts to touch my eyelashes. And I felt, oh no, don't touch my eyelashes. And then I realized, I woke up, and then I realized that was my best friend that had crossed over. She took me to her autopsy. She was very beautiful. And she had these eyelashes that were to die for. And she didn't want the doctor messing up her eyelashes because she was so attached to her body. So that took me really, Mia was a force to be reckoned with in life. And in death, it was just as bad. So she haunted me to no end. She even went to my mom and would just come to my mom and blast songs in her head. And so it got to the point to where I said, Mia, what do you want me to do? She wanted me to go to her family's house and tell them not to hurt her boyfriend, that all was going to be okay, and that he was going to get what was coming to him. So I did that. And after I did that, oh my gosh, she stopped bothering me so much. She let me sleep. It wasn't so crazy. And about 2 years later, he ended up hanging himself in the living room. So yeah, I don't know what happened to him. I haven't even gone into that. But yeah, so this is just one of the things that's happened to me in my life that's totally outlandish and really pushed me into, okay, so now I have to talk to these people that have crossed over. I can't be scared of them anymore. I need to really learn how to hone in on this because it's ruining my life. I'm too full of fear to be who I need to be. So I went to school and I started shamanism. I did that first. And then I went into hypnotherapy school. And after hypnotherapy school, that changed everything for me. I went into this beautiful metaphysical hypnotherapy school in Lafayette, California called HCH. And my teacher, Holly, was amazing. So we not only did hypnotherapy, we did remote viewing, we did psychometry, we did so many exercises. So I really found what I really loved and what I was good at, and learned how to really hone in on it. So after that, everything changed, but I still couldn't leave my family's business because they needed me. So I was kind of like trying to juggle these two things. And then I had my 2 kids, making sure they were okay. And my 2 kids, by the way, extremely psychic. They would see spirits and I would have to talk them through it, and, never show my fear around my kids ever. But it just kept progressing and progressing. And fast forward, I found myself living in Marin with my husband now. And I've always loved the base of Mount Shasta. There's a town called McLeod. And I've always loved this area. And I actually started traveling here back in 2009 and fell in love with it to the point where I was going to actually live out here with my daughter at one point. But it snows. I have 2 horses, or I had 2 horses at the time. So I felt like I just couldn't do it by myself with my daughter. So I waited. And when I was living in Marin, I went out here to find a vacation home to live in. And I thought, okay, this is going to be pretty cool. I'll go ahead and get a vacation home. That way I'll be able to come out here when I want to. So I took my dog Beauty by myself and we came out to McLeod, got a little Airbnb, and I was at the end of the road on Squaw Valley Road here in McLeod. There's this beautiful place where you can stop and just view the mountain. And I got out of the car and I said, beings, just take me where I need to be. Take me. I want to know. I want to be able to be here. Take me. So as I'm waiting for the realtor, I look on my phone and I see this particular property pop up. No joke. That same day, probably a couple hours before I even looked at my phone, this property got listed. And I talked to the realtor and I said, can we go see this place? So I called Corey, my other half, and I said, Corey, this property isn't what we had planned for, okay? But it's pretty amazing. Should I go look at it? And he said, yes, go look at it. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. So got to the realtor's office. He says, yeah, Jamie, I just saw that got listed. Let's go take a look. So we went and we looked at the little place in the forest. I wasn't even wanting to see it then. Okay. I was all about this place. And we drove out here. And right when I drove up the driveway, my heart, I was just like in awe, just this feeling of love, of just this deep connection. It was amazing. It's hard to explain it because with this kind of feeling, it's hard to explain. You're at a loss for words, but I just felt like I was at home. So I come into the house and I see everything. And I said, gosh, this is the place. This is the place. So I called Corey and I said, hey, it's amazing. And I FaceTimed him. He just did a little virtual view and we put an offer on it that day. In 3 days, we got accepted. Totally fast. Nobody else had looked at it. The owners wanted to meet us. So I came back out here, met with the owners. The woman was crying. And I said, I promise you this property will be so loved. This place will be so taken care of. And so it was so serendipitous that we got this place. But Corey worked in the city as an electrician. So he worked in San Francisco. So he had to stay out in San Francisco for 2 years. And he only got to come home on weekends. So I was left out here by myself to experience all of it, all of this. And I tell you what, it's a blessing, but it's also made me face every stinking fear that I've ever had. I've had ships in the front yard to the point where I would wake up and I would hear this humming vibration all throughout the house. I'm not even kidding you. It was crazy. I actually had to get up, come in the living room here and look outside the window because I knew there was some kind of ship outside because that's how it felt, So I called Corey. It was 5 a.m. And I said, Corey, I don't know what to even say. Because Corey's also in the spirit world. So he actually went to Intuitive Way for 6 years in Berkeley. So I met the perfect guy. Plus he's a hypnotherapist. So we just really, I finally met somebody that really was my match, my soul match, that really understood me, that I could tell anything to. So I said, Corey, there's a ship outside. I can't see this ship, but I can feel it. It's radiating through this whole house. Can you hear that humming sound? He says, no, I can't, but I know it's true. So that was just like one of the million things that's happened to me here. And it never stops. It's only gotten better because my fear has lessened. Having to be by myself really pushed me to dive into my deep fears and dive into the connections. And when I was in school, being taught how to connect really, really helped me. So I have a lot of Native Americans that I work with on this land. I'm also Native American, only a little bit, but it's enough because it really, really keeps me connected. And they steer me and guide me in ways that just never stop amazing me. It's just been a beautiful experience to be here. Beautiful.
So being in Mount Shasta, I hear all the stories of everything that goes on there, and I'm enjoying the fact as you're talking, I could actually hear the birds outside chirping,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, yeah, they're 2 hours behind, so it would still be and it's like, wow, it's just hearing the birds. It's like I can see what the draw would be there, and I'm just a little curious as you're talking about experiencing like the craft being there and everything. Has Mount Shasta opened up and shared with you the other aspects of what claims to go on there, or are you content with the CE5 part and just doing that?
So, what I like to do is I like to learn through experiences rather than read. And so I like to get everything on my own. I'm just that kind of person. I'm actually studying to be a Vedic astrologer right now because I want to do everything. I want to be able to be my own reader. I want to be my own astrologer. I want to be my own everything. It just feels like that's what I need to accomplish in this life. So I put infrared cameras all around this house. And right when I moved here, I would get these massive ships. I mean, huge spheres that would go right. And as I'm pointing right here, that's Mount Shasta. Just so you know, it's right in front of me. And I have all the cameras, or a couple cameras, directly shooting at Mount Shasta. And we have captured so many amazing things. I've seen vortexes, portals, beings on the land, ETs. And at first, it scared the ever living crap out of me, to be honest, because these ET beings were the kind that you read about. You know, they look like the Greys. And I've had experiences with them. So has my daughter. She's actually seen one in the laundry room here. But these little watchers, I call them watchers, would be outside and I would take pictures, and I actually have real photos. And I've been taking spirit photography or spirit pictures, oh gosh, since I was in my, I would say late 20s. And it just came in. And I always just took a whole bunch of spirit pictures all the time. Wherever we went, I would take the kids on adventures when they were young and just go take a million spirit pictures and do EVPs. And oh, we had the coolest times. We really did. So this realm is the realm that I live in more often than not now being here, especially. So yes, I've had communications with the beings in Telos. I've had communications with so many different beings, but what I've realized is I go by frequency rather than names, rather than where they're from, who they are. I go by frequency because it just seems like everybody else is so wrapped up into who they are, what they are. So I like to go in and just feel the frequency and get the information through that frequency rather than, oh, here's a name. Oh, where are you from? Sure, I did that a long time ago, but now I just don't. Now I just know. It's like an inner knowingness. So yeah, there's a lot. There's many beings around here for sure.
One, I feel like they probably appreciate that as well because they live in realm of energy and frequency where here we live in a realm of we have to identify things with labels, and so they, you know, may come from Arcturus, we don't know, but we label them Arcturian, and they could be like, well, I'm actually frequency
Yeah.
237, and
Yeah.
we're like, huh. But if we say to somebody, oh, frequency 237, they're like, what is that?
That's how it
And
feels.
so it's funny how we operate.
Yeah. That's how it feels. So now when I tune in, I'm always tuned in. Now when I tune in, I just know by the frequencies, and I work with a collective, a couple different collectives. And while living here, I started getting this feeling in 2015 of this energy wanting to speak through me. And I know I'm kind of all over the place, but this is kind of like my first big interview. So bear with me here. I'm finally getting out there and just allowing myself to be in the spotlight a little bit because I've been such a recluse, but I know that I need to. So it's really good that I'm here with you. You're the perfect person for me to open up to.
Well,
So,
thank you.
um, so in 2015, I started feeling this push. I would go to the bathroom and I would feel this. I would be in the bathtub and I would feel this energy wanting to come in through my left side. And I would say, okay, look, I know that you're here and I feel that you want to talk through me, but I'm not quite ready yet. I'm not quite ready yet. Give me some time. I'll do this. So I made a promise. I said, I promise I'll do it. I promise. So I'm just going to take you to this story because I'm already there in the bathtub at 2015. One time I had an experience kind of like that movie Resurrection. I get out of the bathtub and I am in a towel and I start to feel my body just, I'm not feeling normal at all. I lay down on my bed. Corey's home, thank God. And all of a sudden, I can't move my mouth. My lips are numb. My left leg is numb. My hands started contorting, and I couldn't talk. I was like this on the bed, and I said, "Corey, can you come here?" And thank God, he's just so intuitive. He said, "Jami, this isn't, anything health wise. This is spiritual." So I said, "Okay." I wasn't scared, to be honest, which is really crazy, but I wasn't scared. He came over, he put his hand on my head, and he called for Jesus. Jesus is always his go-to. And it just wasn't moving. The energy just it was there. And it probably sat with me for a good 15 minutes. And that's a really long time to be contorted like that. So after that happened, I regained my body back. And I got a phone call from one of my son's friends that he had gotten into a fight. He had gotten really drunk at a bar and he went to go into somebody else's car. The guy shut his hands, took both of his hands and slammed both of his hands into the car door. He got his butt kicked big time. And I basically took all that on, I guess, because everything that he was explaining to me and his friend was explaining to me was everything that was happening with my body. The mouth got hit, the left leg got hit, my arms were contorted, my hands were contorted. So I was already scared of what was happening to my body because I'm such an empath, but that was like next level scary stuff. So I'm also extremely empathic, so I had to put that in there to the point where it's that bad. I get attacked sometimes. I mean, I think that I have a better handle on it now, but I think that it's just who I am and I don't want to be scared of it anymore. Does it still kind of concern me? Yeah. But let's fast forward to being here. So I started channeling here. I started working with other light workers that come to me for hypnosis sessions. And I realized that that is one of my gifts. And I call it a gift because it sure is. It's a blessing. I mean, a lot of people would be scared of it, but now I'm not. I help others kind of unpack their gifts that are available for them. So the light language. So when I'm in a session with somebody else who's like me, who's very into this realm, who's walking in both worlds, let's just say that, something comes out of me and our energies dance. And it's nothing short of magic. It's amazing. And after I'm done with the session, I can't even believe what had happened, like what happens on this couch and then online. It's amazing. So I'm finding that when we bring our energies together, certain energies that resonate with mine, we can do so many things. So right now, I'm really trying to gather like minds to do work together, to do magic together here on this land. And I used to have, a couple years ago, I used to have dinner with gifts. I used to have a dinner called Friends with Gifts. And I only did it for a summer, and I got to get back to doing it because now I really need to. But that's one of the things that I definitely wanted to mention, because I would love to meet others that want to dive in this realm and work together. Because what happens when we all come together, it's just amazing. It's just amazing.
It is, and what I find kind of interesting in how the universe works is tomorrow I had pre-recorded an episode on another series about synchronicities and how they are like ruling everything we do, and I never really thought about it. And then it's like now, ever since that episode, like you and I meeting was synchronistic.
Yeah.
The fact that we talk and are able to communicate the way we do, synchronistic, and everything's unfolding synchronistic. It's like I'm starting to like, I don't know if I got programmed or just awakened to seeing another level, but it just is interesting to me how I could start to think and see everything in synchronistic form. And as we're talking about doing all of this, I can't help but think about like one thing that you had said where you were saying, this is your first interview, bear with you. I was like, in my heart, I was saying and going, you're doing just fine. Don't worry about it. Just go with it. Don't judge it. Just be with it.
It's hard because my mind will be like, oh, but what about that? Ooh, back to that. There's so many memories and there's so many wonderful things to share, but I have to go, okay, well, there's always next time.
I
I'm
call
like,
them squirrel moments.
yeah, squirrel. Squirrel is exactly what it is. I was going to say that squirrel. Yeah. I'm writing a book. My one big thing that's happened to me, my daughter left this earth in 2023 in December.
Our condolences to you.
Thank you so much. It's taken me a lot of work. I mean, I'm so glad that I'm me when it comes to what I believe and how I can connect, because if I wasn't, it would just be, oh, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to think about that. But so the day before she left this earth, I had this feeling come over me. I was in the kitchen here and I felt this massive being to my right as I was opening the refrigerator door. And I said, well, what are you doing here? Who are you? And I stood there and I didn't hear anything. And I said, okay, you're not talking to me. So I felt like, okay, I have to text Brooke, make sure she's okay. So I text her and I say, hi, honey, how you doing? Is everything good? And she says, yeah, Mom, I'm good. I'm loving my new place. I'm doing really good. And I said, okay. And it made me feel better. But then this feeling just wouldn't really stop. But I had to let it go because we can't worry so much to the point where it makes us sick. Even though we have these feelings, us intuitives, and pretty much everybody's intuitive. It's just, depending on how you want to, delve into your gifts and how you want to expand on it. Some people just don't want to, and that's okay. There's a lot of people in my family that don't want to. But for me, I have to, especially now. So this is pretty raw and this is pretty tender. And so I'm going to just share this. So after I got the phone call that next morning, and in the middle of the night, I heard her say, Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Mom, I'm so sorry. And she was crying. And I completely kicked it out of my head and said, no, that's not true. No, I'm not going to listen. No. I wake up in the morning and I get a phone call from her best friend telling me that she's left the earth. I immediately dropped to the ground and I felt like, okay, I have to be super strong right now for her and I have to help her through this because I know how hard it was for my best friend that crossed over. She came to me right after and she had such a hard time crossing over because she was so religious. And she was afraid to go to the light because she was so worried about sinning. She was like, I'm not. And we talked about it in life. So my daughter has always worked with me in this realm. So she knows me so well. We would do this together. And so I said, honey, whatever you do, please don't go see your body. I'm going to be here with you. We're going to do this together. And I'm, of course, just beside myself. I mean, I can't even, you could just imagine. It was terrible. So as the days passed, I would just connect with her and talk to her. And I couldn't wash my hair. I couldn't do anything because I was just completely, oof. So Corey would help me take care of myself. And she would tell me, Mom, self-care, mom. She would scream it in my right side, just like right here all the time. And she would take me to these shows, and she would take me to where she created this amazing place to be. And if it wasn't for her helping me through, I wouldn't be okay today. I wouldn't be talking to you. I would probably be in complete depression like most parents are, but she has worked with me every step of the way to help me understand, because this was always such a passion in life for both of us, to know what happens to us when we cross over. And I would tell her all the time what I had learned through other people, talking to people who had passed, what they experienced. And so she knew. She had a fine time crossing, but she wanted to share everything with me. And she still continues to this day. So in my readings, she works with me, not with everybody, but if she's there, I call her in and I said, do you want to work with me here? And she'll help me. She'll help me speak to other loved ones, bring them in for other people. And I have had her friends come here and I put them in a trance, hypnotherapy, and they get to see her and touch her and experience her again. And they continue on working on that connection with her. And the one thing that I've learned that I've never read in any book is they don't want us to not talk to them. They're right here with us. They're right here with us. Not all the time, but let me tell you, a lot of the time. And it's amazing because I never want her to not know that I'm hearing her. I'm like, okay, I hear you. Okay, I hear you. I want to make sure she's heard and she's honored at all cost. And it really just put everything into perspective for me, because they're really not gone. They're really not gone. They're just in another dimension, and they're able to tap into ours a lot easier than we are to able to tap into theirs. So what I do is I put my iPad out and I video every single day her light body. She'll come in, she'll wiggle. I'll ask her questions. So I'll hear her, I'll see her in my mind's eye, and then I'll physically see her showing up as a sphere in my room. She's blown me away. She's absolutely blown me away. I mean, she's told me things. She told me, Mom, she comes to me one day and she says, Mom, water. And I said, okay, so we're going to have something going on with the water. So I said, hey, Corey, just to let you know, Brooke just told me to watch out for the water here. And we have well water. Well, it just so happens that he had these arborists come and they were cutting trees down in the backyard. And one of the trees dropped on the dang well and broke the well. I said, thank you, Brooke. And Corey comes in. He's like, thank you, Brooke. And then we got married, totally spontaneous. Wasn't even thinking about it. And she kept on sending me. She kept on showing me, Mom, you're going to be with Corey. And I'm like, well, honey, I know. We've been together for almost 10 years. And she's like, no, Mom, you're going to be with him. And she's showing me this. And she's like, Mom, married. And I'm like, no. Well, yeah, later on, no problem. And then she was blasting November Rain in my head. and showing me the video that I haven't even seen since the 90s, seriously, since it first came out. The woman in the wedding dress going down the aisle. And I'm like, is it going to rain? And then I was thinking, okay, we're going to have November rain. It's going to be a really rainy season, right? And then I saw the wedding dress and I went, what are you trying to tell me, Brooke? What's going on here? Because I really just was not thinking at all we were going to get married. And then that night, she shows up in the infrared cameras. She shows up as an orb, and this is her orb. She goes like this, right in place, and then she shows this infinity, does this infinity circle. And I went, Brooke Taylor, what are you doing right now? What's going on? And I didn't even know. I still didn't put it together. Okay. 2 days later, we got married. We got married November 1st, 11/1. Totally spontaneous, totally not even planning on it. And I said, oh my gosh, that's what you're trying to tell me. Thank you, honey. I'm stubborn. I'm still stubborn. When it comes to me, it's hard when it's you. It's so much easier when it's a client or somebody else, So she never stops amazing me. It's just continued. And the connection, that's one thing that I really wanted to help others with. So I teach others to continue their connection, because you can still have that relationship with that person you've lost on this side, 100%. It's not going to be the same, of course, but you can still carry on that relationship. So right now, that's what I'm doing. And I continue to grow my relationship with her, and she teaches me, and we're writing a book together. And it's just amazing what's happened. It's just a blessing. Yeah.
It is, and it's such a gift that both of you are open to it and able to grow and expand with it. And I can't help thinking in my mind, as I'm picturing her on the other side doing all of this stuff on the land with you, and you talk about the natives that are on the land. I'm like, I wonder if Brooke ever hangs out with the natives.
Oh, she does. Oh, yes, she does. When I was going through, it took me months. Well, it took me way longer than that. It took me a really long time. I would go into the bathtub. As a mom, I would always hide my tears from my kids. I would always, want to be strong. And so in the bathtub, I would be able to cry and to be able to just let loose. So that's always stuck with me. And so I would be in the bathtub and I would cry, and all of these, there was these women, these Native American women that I had never met before. They came in and they surrounded me, and they told me that they have a special ceremony for the women the mothers who have lost their children. And as I'm in the bathtub, I start crying, and this language just starts coming out of me. And I was speaking this Native American language, and the feeling that I got, oh my gosh, it was so awesome. It was just this connection to mothers that felt my pain and feel my pain. And oh, it was just beautiful. It took me. So these beings that I've cultivated a relationship with here have helped me in so many ways that I never even thought was possible, ever. One of the beings on the land that I connect with a lot is named Light as Feather. And this happened probably about a good 3 years ago. He came to me on my doorstep, and he had his hands like this, and he had 2 sparrows in his hands. And these 2 sparrows flew into the house. And he looked at me and he said, there will be 2. And I said, okay. So I tell Corey, I said, Corey, I think there's going to be 2 people that are going to be crossing over that I'm connected to. And I don't know who, but I feel like it's my grandfather, and the other person, I felt like it was my aunt. And, but I didn't know for certain, And I said, but there will be 2. So fast forward, not a year later, it took a while. My grandfather and my best friend crossed over 4 hours apart, 4 hours apart that night in September. There will be 2. So that completely just connected me to Lighta's feather in a way that I never thought was possible, because now I know I can trust you. We have this connection. And he came to me again before my daughter crossed. And he said, there will be one, and it will be close to your heart. And I had feelings, of course, that it might be my daughter, but I would talk to her all the time and tell her, make smart choices, make sure that you're okay. Be careful who you're around, all those things. And yeah, he told me. And then after she crossed over, he came to me again. And it was so beautiful because he showed me this white bird that laid in his hand, dead. And that bird rose and flew up. And he was telling me, now you know there is no such thing as death. And I said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Like you. So yeah, the connection to these beings on this land make it okay for me to talk to you today. They have helped me so much. I'm so blessed.
And you bring up an interesting point, because being, as you say, using your medium ability to see all of this and experience it, I know from experience as channeler, which is similar to medium, that we have a different view of the other side and all of that, and it makes, I think, the grieving process in a way more complicated, but in a way easier, because we see both aspects of it, and it's hard for the mind and heart to align and say, okay, this is what we're witnessing, because in our mind we know, okay, this person's time here is ended. We're not going to see him anymore in the physical. But the heart goes, well, but you're still going to see him on the other plane and still talk to him. So it's like, wait, are they really gone? Are they not gone? And it makes it kind of, in a way, that's where I say it makes it complicated, but yet really nice. Is it's like you don't know what to feel or think.
Yeah. It was hard. It was really hard for me to, because Brooke was always around me. It was hard. It was hard to constantly have her be here, and not physical. And so it's really taken me a long time. And believe me, I still cry every day. I keep it to myself, and, I tell her, okay, I'm doing so much better, but of course I'm going to cry, don't be sad that I'm crying, because they feel our emotions. They don't want us to be upset, but it's just, that's just is what it is. I think I'm going to probably cry for the rest of my life just because she's not here. But just knowing that she's just right there, that gives me such a peace. And I know that I'll know her for the remainder of my years, and then we'll meet again. I mean, we're in this together, and that's what she's always saying. We're in this together. We're in this together. It's just awesome. It's just awesome.
And I can't help but wonder if I'm picking up on, or because I have a little bit of empathy too. And as you're doing this show, before we got started, we were talking about all these stuff that we could be talking about and everything. And I mentioned this about her to you. And I can't help but think, was she pulling the strings and wanting this and wanting her story told and everything? And like, you're being able to do this episode and all the ones that are coming and, embracing all of this, if it's not her behind you going, okay, we got this, I got you, we can do this.
100%. everything you just said, 100%, because I'm totally fine with just being my little recluse, having a recluse life, being away from everybody and having my 15 chickens and my dogs, living on 20 acres. I'm good. But she says, no, Mom, you know, you didn't sign up to just be good. No, you need to get out there and you need to show others. You need to help others connect, because there's a lot of grieving parents, a lot of grieving people in this world that don't know, that don't understand, don't know, and don't realize this is even possible. And that's what we're doing. That's one of the biggest things, you know, that's what we're doing. We have to.
And it's such a beautiful gift that you give to people, to where they can see and interact with the person. Because to me, with losing my own father, the hardest thing is you always will have in your mind, what if I said this? And you get in the what if trap or the shoulda trap. And I'm really good at catching myself on the should haves. But the what ifs still kind of get me, because they'll just sneak up on you and you'll be like talking and going to yourself and going, well, what if this? And you're like, oh, I'm in the what if trap now.
Yeah. This has really taught me how to work on my mind, you know, especially with somebody who's intuitive. Your mind goes a million different directions and there's a million different voices. When I was a kid, I would sleep with the fan on because the voices got to be so bad. It was like a TV was on in my room. And now it's the thoughts. And so I've really worked on that, and I teach others how to work on their thoughts. And once we really learn how to focus on our breath, get out of our mind, go into our hearts, that's where all of that ancient wisdom lies. That's where the good stuff is. And that's where that knowingness is. And that's what I like to show others. It's amazing.
So listening to your story and how you ended up where you're at, it's kind of interesting to me, because living where I'm living right now, the story of how we ended up where we are is kind of funny, because we had a job where, and a company where we would go places. So my job was always, maps go out all the locations so they could map it and best utilize the time to go check out all the homes when we were moving. And the house we're in now, I mapped out, and to this day, I swear it was on the list of places I was supposed to map out. But they say they never put this house on the list.
Wow.
And so we ended up, like you in a way, being drawn to here and finding what we needed to find here. And so I'm like in my mind going, how interesting how the universe works, that you are not only in the city, but it puts on your phone before anybody sees it. And it's almost like the universe saying, here it is.
Yeah. A big part of the reason why we got this place, and I didn't really know it so much then. I had an idea, but I didn't really know. CE5s, doing the CE5s and helping others see through with their own eyes. See, I can go ahead and read for somebody all day long. They're just hearing it from me. And when they see it through a picture, a video, or with their own eyes, that's huge. That's everything. That's my job. My job is to help them see things, help them really physically see things. So when we have our CE5 events, and how it really came to be was just them constantly bombarding me here with experiences, whether I'm in a ship, whatever it may be, me seeing them, experiencing them. I've had so many experiences. that made me say, okay, am I here to teach others about you? And that was a big yes. Yes. So then I started going, okay, well, let's go ahead and start having these meetups and we'll go stargaze. And then we saw Dr. Stephen Greer's CE5 documentary. And I saw, this is so crazy. I saw the logo, the symbols, and I woke up one day and my chest was itching right in the middle of my chest. And I was like, what in the heck? And I just didn't even think about it. And it just kept itching. It kept itching. And I looked at it and it was exactly the CE5 symbol, Dr. Stephen Greer's CE5 symbol. And I said, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. I'll start having CE5s. This is what I have to do. And I know that. But see, for me, being around a whole bunch of people, it got hard. It's hard to do. And so I was kind of like putting it off. I said, I can't put this off anymore. You guys are bashing me in the head, putting symbols on my chest. I know that I need to do this. And okay, I'll do it. So we started doing it. And after that, it's just been awesome. I mean, amazing. So I'll have people go outside and we'll all sit in a circle, and either it'll be on the deck, depending on how many people are here, or we'll go into the meadow. And the beings on the land, they actually have healed certain people's problems. So we had somebody here that had a knee problem. And as I'm taking my pictures, my spirit photography, these energies are blasting and all around this person's knee. And I'm like, okay, this is wonderful. Let's see how it feels. Oh my gosh, the knee pain was gone. Couldn't believe it. Now, it doesn't happen every time, but just to know that it does happen and it can happen, absolutely. If it's meant to be, it'll happen. We've seen portals open up in the sky, plain as day, crazy as all heck. We're talking, and I wasn't going to say it, and I didn't say it to anybody really after it happened, because my friend Dustin and Dustin's a local author here. He wrote Mount Shasta Mysteries, and I just love interacting with him. He's such a dear friend now. And so we do experiments here on the land, and we were doing a CE5 for his documentary, and we had a really good group that night. And he said, Jami, you got to get over here and see this. So I left the circle, went over, and on his binoculars was this massive portal, huge portal. And you could see these ships going right into this portal, and nothing was coming out. They were just going right in. An hour, probably 15 minutes later, it was a long time, the portal started to close slowly. It was awesome. We saw a double-decker ship that night. It was so cool. But we've seen some amazing things happen here. Pictures.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's almost like we're telepathically communicating, because my next question I was going to say, you're like doing the perfect lead-ins to, and that is, we're getting close to the hour, and we can go over if you have time. I'm not worried about that. But the question that I was going to ask you, that you were just perfectly leading up to, is, would you like to explain or offer to promote the healing place?
We just, really honestly, the healingplace.site tells you a lot about what we do here. I do intuitive hypnotherapy. It's quite different than regular hypnotherapy, because I intuitively go in, and sometimes it just depends on the person. Sometimes I will actually channel and facilitate them with somebody else in my field, a higher dimensional being. And it's just awesome. So I've learned not to analyze everything, kind of move my mind out of the way and just allow it to come in. And it took me years to do that. But after really doing that, it's really helped me, because now I'm just so comfortable doing it. It's no big deal. But we do spirit photography, aura photography. We have our CE5s at every new moon, around the new moon, once a month. And yeah, we do some pretty awesome things around here. So if you're in town near Mount Shasta, we're in McLeod, which is only 15 minutes away from Mount Shasta. And our view is Mount Shasta, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, just contact me.
Definitely. And so I kind of want to ask something, but it's like the way I want to ask it, I can't put into words. And it gets frustrating when that happens because it's like my mind is going one way, but my vocabulary is another way. And it's like never the two shall meet, it feels like sometimes.
I can't wait for you to come here. Seriously, it's going to be so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah, I'm wanting to. I'm trying to figure out when I can and fit it and schedule it, and so I'll definitely be in touch with you about that. And my question that or thought is, what was the aha moment you had being on the land, being where you're at, that said, this is definitely where we need to be. This is exactly why we're here, and solidified it for you?
Honestly, it's really easy for me because it still happens to me when I drive up the driveway. We have a massive driveway, and I still get the same feeling that I felt from day one. It's a feeling of you're meant to be here to share this land, to show others what they need to see and be, to activate others, to really bring in that awareness. So my energy just being here is doing something so enormous. It's like, the grid worker is pretty much what it is. But just me being here is activating this land and all around it, and bringing others here does the same for them if they're ready. And I knew right when I went up the driveway, I knew, because this place just called out to me. I mean, Corey and I both knew Corey is not one to purchase anything, okay, let alone a 20-acre property, without even seeing it. I mean, once you get to know Corey, you'll go, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, because he does not do that at all. With anything he buys, he has to really think about it. So we were so meant to be here. Both he and I were so meant to be here. The good thing about Corey is, now we know this from years of working together, he's my protector and grounder. So if I have an energy that comes into me and I start to feel off balance, out of sorts, not myself, he comes in and he grounds the space. He's my protector. So we found out his role a long time ago. It's kind of like Ed and Lorraine Warren in a way, because I'll go sense all the stuff, but then I take it on, and then he helps me fight it off and get it off. Like, it's wild. It really is. But it's just how we work together. It's awesome.
No, it is beautiful, and it's beautiful how it works out and flows naturally. And I'm like, I have so many things around Mount Shasta and all that you do, and I'm like, oh, I want to engage, but at the same time, I want to respect the time and the fact that, there will be other episodes. So it's like, I don't want to overwhelm.
I would love to be able to be on here with you whenever you want. Absolutely, 110%. I'm here.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely have you back on. And the one question I want to ask, though, before we call it, I feel like I would be miffed if I didn't ask because of your location, and that is knowing that ESETI ranches near Mount Shasta. Do you feel like because the work you do, the work he does, and the work of others in the area, because I'm sure there's not just the two of you, is that what keeps the energy and the spirits happy there and going and sharing? Or
I think so. I've actually had this. Okay, so I've actually left my body and went up and saw James and his ranch as a light, no joke, and then here as a light, and a few others all scattered around, and they were showing me that these are the beings that you'll connect with at some time. And so it's just a matter of time that happens. It really is. So absolutely, I feel like you're absolutely right. Dead on. Dead on.
and it's really great that you guys can get along and do this, and the quote unquote human spirit of competition and all that doesn't get in the way of it.
We're all one. We're all one. Straight up. And I like James. I do. I think he's fine. He's doing what he's good at, and he's such a free spirit. I need to get to be more free with myself for sure. So this is the step to that. Getting outside my little box.
Well, as they say, life's an adventure, and being on a podcast show, it can be an adventure.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything left that you want to share with the audience for this episode?
We are going to be having our next CE5 at the 28th of this month and then the 26th of next month. So anybody that wants to come join in, you're more than welcome. Go to the website, thehealingplace.site, and you'll see the info for it. Or reach out to me. Totally reach out to me. Yeah, I'm happy to have all you guys.
And all the ways to reach out to her are in the bio. Yeah. So, or description of the episode, as you could say. So, thank you so much for trusting me to come on to this show.
Thank you so much. You're a great fit for me, for sure.
Yes, and I am going to, as soon as we're done, look at the calendar and send you dates for the next appearance, because I'm like, oh, we having so much fun. It's like, oh, there's so much more to share. We totally need to keep this going.
I know, I can talk for hours. I know. So true. There's just so much to talk about. So yeah, it'll never get old or boring. That's for sure.
That and the fact that you're such a bright spirit and a bright light. I mean, it's I interact with a lot of people, but it's like very rare that I will find somebody that I'm like, I don't think I would ever get in an argument with.
No, you won't.
And it's not that both of us are afraid of conflict or anything like that. It's just we just seem to be in sync and be on the same page, and it's like such a rare gift to find.
Yeah, I feel the same way about you. I do. I told you that when I met you. I said, "Oh my gosh, you're the guy I'm going to do this with. This feels really good for me." And so it's very serendipitous, and our to dance in this way. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I love how you put it as a dance, because yeah, it's what it is. It's like
it totally is.
Next time, though, I think you'll need to pick the music. No, but and in full transparency, I want to say, as guests go, I talked to you a little bit about this before we came on, but I want to reiterate it because I think it's something that a lot of people who are thinking about being guests or our guests may not think about, but I want to thank you for trying to log in
No.
ahead of schedule, even my schedule, because everyone doesn't realize this, but it took us probably a good 20-30 minutes to figure out
Yep.
how to get the link to work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that everybody always assumes it'll work, so it's no big deal. And I was so grateful that you were on it and trying it and reached out to me right away and was like, this isn't working, so we could remedy it so the show could start on time. So I want to just say thank you for your help in trusting me to make this happen.
We did it. We did it.
Yes, and in the spirit of this being a 9 year in my life cycle, apparently,
Oh.
it's I was informed as a time of gratitude, and I know you through our communications, you always hear me saying gratitude and appreciation, and it's something that I just naturally fell into and didn't even realize. Apparently, it's that cycle for me to be in the energy of. So it's like, cool. I'm in the energy without even knowing I'm in the energy. But I want to leave you with this one special thought, and I want to extend it also to your daughter. And that is from my heart and my show. Thank you for the service that you're doing for humanity. It is so needed and so appreciated.
Thank you. I felt that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And God, I'm having so much fun. It's like I don't even want to end this, and it's like starting to get a little emotional.
No. I felt that. I felt that. You know,
I'm
it's
glad,
yeah.
but I think it is a good spot to end with. And for everybody that's watching, if you enjoyed this episode, please click the like button and subscribe if you don't already, so you can be alerted when the amazing, beautiful spirit of Jami Lee will be back.
Thank you, Michael. You're so sweet.
Well, it's well deserved.
Until next time.
With that, we are going to say goodnight, everybody.